Hello, hello. Throw some lights on. For those of you, hi Phyllis, for those of you that jumped on early, if you want, what you might want to do is grab a sheet of paper and your scoreboard, and a little bottle of adhesive or tape runner. Cut your paper 8.5 by 5.5. So if you want to join me in doing this part, you'll have time. So if you want to run, I'll wait a couple minutes and until people start signing on. So we're going to be making a card that I learned from Pink Fresh yesterday. Once again, I'm taking a bunch of classes all this week, and kind of was deciding, what am I going to do for Facebook? I got a lot of stuff going on this week, trying to get all my Maker Mania stuff together and so on and so forth. Try to prioritize what needs to get done first. And I had to take a class from Pink Fresh, and they showed this really cute card, and I'm like, perfect. It made my Wednesday night kind of easy. So what I suggested to the people in the morning, or they signed on earlier, if you want, I won't get started for a couple minutes, grab a sheet of 8.5 by 11, 8.5 and 5.5. Grab your scoreboard and some kind of adhesive. I used my Nouveau glue because it dries really fast. So if you want to do that and kind of make this basic card kind of thing with me, and I have the instructions, not the instructions, these are like my kind of instructions, ready for you later. So I'm going to go just swing around, grab my water. Okay. So is anybody out there going to be joining us and actually constructing this card together? Anybody out there decided to run and get a half a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 5.5, and your scoreboard and some glue? Oh, thank you, Judy. Hi, Heidi. Heidi, you might want to grab, if you can, I don't know if you're listening on your way home from work, but if you want, I'm giving everybody a couple minutes to grab a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 5.5, and your scoreboard. And I have Nouveau glue, but whatever adhesive that you like. Because we're going to be making one of these really cute little cards. That's just a quick little sneak peek. Well, yeah, you can go back and do it too. Oh, where did I just, okay. Okay, so let me see if I have one other thing. Okay, we're going to get started. Let me move this over so you can see. You're too lazy. Okay. So, and you guys, if you go back or whatever, but you can take a screenshot of this paper. Now this one's super easy to do. So if you take a screenshot, I'll put this up later too, so you can see this later. Those are the basic instructions for the scoring. So I'm going to kind of put it up a little further so I can see. So you're going to score at 1/4, at 1 inch, 1 3/4, and 2.5. Then you're going to go all the way over to 6 inches, 6 3/4, 7 1/2, and 8 1/4. So we have 1/4, 1 inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/2. Then we moved over to 6, 6 3/4, 7 1/2, and 8 1/4. Okay, so we have our card. And now we are going to flip it over. And using your bone folder, go ahead and crease each one of those folds. And it is kind of important to get it perfect. Otherwise, your finished product is going to be a little bit wonky. Okay. And now we're going to do the other side, going into the same direction, going towards the center of your card. Okay. So we have all our pieces scored. The next step is to get your adhesive. And this one you might want to watch for a second. What you want are, you don't want 3 folds, you want 2 folds. 2 folds. This is that little 1/4 inch. And you're going to apply your adhesive onto that 1/4 inch. And it's important to get to that edge. So you have your 2 folds. You're going to flip that little 1/4 inch under. Make sure it's nice and flat. And then hold it down, well, because I have the liquid glue, and hold it down there for a second. And then this is going to pop up to create the one side. If you're using adhesive, it'll just adhere really super quick. So now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So remember, we want just the 2 folds, and that other 1/4 inch is going to get tucked underneath. Apply your adhesive close to that edge. Kind of let that set, and then this will pop up. So there's your basic little, I don't know what you call it, your card base. So once again, there are the instructions for the top part, which we just did, where we scored everything. And now these are for the layers that are going to go on here. These are going to get adhered on each side, and this one is going to get adhered in the center. And my thought for this card was to use this design from Whippersnapper. So, which I'm going to complete, and then I'll show you later. I don't want to glue these on yet because I think I want to put a little tiny black mat around each one, just because I love to layer and I'm crazy. So I think I'm going to put a little black mat, and these guys, they do not have dies, so you have to hand cut them. So I'll finish cutting him later, but look how cute he's going to look on there. And I'll thinking of putting some bats on there, and what I probably have a spider to hang down there with my little sentiment on it. But you'll have to kind of check this out maybe in a half hour after I'm done. I might have it done. The froggy, I think Kathy, I think we might have one more in the store, but I have this one. I'll save it for you. I'll bring it into the store on Friday. So let me show you another version. So this whole part is done. So I have my layers already adhered in here. And for this card, I used a new stamp set, of course, from Pink Fresh, one of my favorites. And this one is called Go For It. This one has, which is interesting, in this stamp set, they give you this little die for the Go For It sentiment. There is the die, or the Go For It goes in the stamp set. There is the die, and then if you prefer and you like using the stencils, there are stencils that coordinate with this whole set. I chose, of course, to color. So I actually, the back side of this paper has this beautiful paper on it. You can just use this silhouette if you wanted to make a card and put your little sentiment on it. I chose to stamp my design and I colored it. And I grabbed, these are the colors that I used, which was kind of a different color palette. I don't typically like this, but or gravitate to this, but it matched perfectly with this paper, and I actually liked the shades of those flowers. So what I'm going to do is adhere this and kind of set it off slightly to that solid paper. I will say that I used 110-pound weight for this particular stamp design because there's a lot of thin areas, and so I wanted a stronger paper, a little heavier. So I'm just going to kind of offset it just a touch. So a little bit of that solid is kind of showing through. And now I can decide where I'm going to put it on my card. One of the things that you want to be aware of, this card for mailing folds perfectly flat. And it fits in an A2 size card. So what you want to be aware of when you're adhering whatever image you have here, it really should not extend past the 4 1/4, where this particular stamp isn't going to do that. Because if it extends farther, it's not going to fit in a regular A2 size envelope. So you'd have to go to the bigger size. So I think I'm just going to kind of set this over here and just kind of check. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to just kind of like move this over just a hair. So I need this to adhere here so that it's not going to extend past over there. Does that make sense, everyone? So I'm just going to put some of my glue And same thing with the top of your card. You don't want it to extend over there. So this is held down pretty good. And let me just find where I'm going to be gluing the other pieces. This stamp is so pretty. So I have the glue on this little paper and I'm just sliding it over. Kind of holding it down. So when it pops up, it's kind of in place. So this is anchored and that's anchored. And then I'll go back and actually touch these little areas. What the other two samples that I have are kind of cute cards and whimsical, and I love the fact that you can make this really, this is kind of like a little bit of an elegant, beautiful card, using the same kind of card base idea, and make it fun, like with the little frog, you have these beautiful flowers. And once again, we're just going to make sure it's all going to fold flat. This will go back into there. Now I have my little banner that I'm going to put on my card. Actually, earlier, I think I had it underneath. I think I kind of like that better. Now, once again, with this little banner, you want to make sure that it's not going to extend past that. So I might have to go back and make a small, I think I'll have to go back and make a little bit smaller banner. This is a little bit too, this is, oh, it's 4 inches. So it should, oh, we should be fine. Let me adhere this down. Hi, Suzanne. Thank you. I really love this color, this paper. I'm going to just make sure that this is lined up. And then I'm just going to anchor down those little stems. Kind of hold that down. One of the things I love about the Nuvo glue, it dries super fast compared to a lot of other glues, and it is very strong. And the reason I put it here because I'm just getting a little bit of glue, and you can see that when I do apply the glue, it's not oozing out. And I'm just going to put the sentiment over here. It's probably one of the, I colored earlier, but super fast card. And it'll fold down and it'll fit in our envelope. So I think when you make one of these cards and send it to somebody, they'll be like super surprised when they pull it out and the fact that it'll pop up for them. So let me show you 2 other cards that I did. So going from Pink Fresh or Whippersnapper to Pink Fresh, we're moving to Newton's Nook. And here is this new oval with the pumpkins in it, and you have all these cute little sentiment stamps. And so just taking the card base and rotating it to fit the oval in this direction. And if you remember, this paper that I have on the background, that was done with the Pink Fresh plaid stamp, which is now back in stock. And then I used the stencils, which should be coming in shortly, to color. And so I used that paper that I didn't do anything with it last time. I cut it up and put it on my card front. So once again, this will fold flat, and when they pull their card out, it'll pop up. So another cute stamp set, and I love this one, is the little back of the pickup truck. And there is a coordinating die, and you can cut out the truck and the little leaves. And then you have this little sentiment. So on this one, I used my dot paper from Simple Stories, which I love. And then I put that striped paper, I had some left over, I put that down the center of the back. I have the little truck over here, and I have the little sentiments, and I matted that on a rectangle and then put a little flag die underneath. And once again, this will fold flat into your envelope, and then it'll pop up. So we have 3 different versions. Let's see. Of that card. And then we will have 4. Once I finish my little froggy guy, I'll post him tonight. I'll post some of these that I did, and I'll post the little frog Halloween card. So, anybody have any questions? Once again, this is the paper size that you need, the 5.5 by 8.5, and I just used regular 80-pound weight paper. I didn't use 100 or 110 pound. These are the score marks that you're going to score across. Let's see. So this is not 8.5, but just pretend it is. These are the score marks. So you have the quarter, the 1 inch, 1 3/4, 2.5. Then you scoot over to the 6, 6 3/4, 7.5, and 8 1/4. And then we have the dimensions for the little strips of paper here. You need 2 of these, the 1 inch by 5 1/4, and then you need the piece that goes in the background, which is 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. So probably the hardest part of putting something like this together was actually the coloring. But there are, you could, stamp this and use your stencil to color your flowers, so that would go super fast. But these weren't too bad. So are any questions out there? What I would like to do, I don't know if I have to change something on our Facebook page, if anybody makes one of these cards, to post it on our Facebook page from today's live, and to see the different cards that you guys come up with. So this was actually a fast Facebook tonight. Thanks, Mary Lou. The color was actually really fast, but this one was not bad at all. Hey, Mona, I see that you're on. This is my version of an interactive card. Tonight I actually have a class with Lawn Fawn, learning how to do their new wiper die class. So I promised Mona the die afterwards because that is not my kind of cup of tea. So, let's see. Yeah, that's the kind of cool thing. Like you could do, it's just the basic card, and even like changing the papers, the fact that there's solids here and a pattern behind there, that just the pattern paper here, and then in here and just rotating it. Well, I will have to admit that when today at the store I was working on these coloring, and the oval was stamped in the other direction, and I'm like, that's not going to work. Lori was the one that said, just turn it the other way. So, and I just had like, oh my God, one of those aha moments. It's been a long week. So I'm not going to take credit for that. So, yeah, this is my interactive, and yours too, right, Suzanne? But it's fun. I mean, it's like really a really cute card. Lori's working on some samples. She's going to do a class with some fall cards with this technique. So hopefully those will be ready to share with you in the next week or two. So she has another class she's going to be doing, a really cool paper home decor project. So, and speaking of classes, within the next couple days, we're going to start posting our classes for September. We'll fill that calendar out. That's just been on me. I've been like super crazy busy with 1,001 things, namely Maker Mania. And now that I've done the majority of what I needed to do for that, I can focus on my other priorities. And so we'll be filling that calendar up. Samples, there's a lot of samples are ready to go. So it's just me. So look for that over the weekend. And our weekend hours, we're open our regular Friday from 10 to 6, Saturday 10 to 3, Sunday closed, and Monday I'm taking off. We're closed on Monday. So, and once again, I'm really lucky. Caitlin and Dave are coming up this weekend. So we're going to do some baby shopping stuff and just kind of fun, laid back weekend. So looking forward to that. So Lori will be in the store on Friday night and Saturday. So anybody have any questions? Because I'm going to let you go. I'm going to clean out my mess. I will have to say it was so funny yesterday. I had to do a videotape for my Maker Mania presentation. So I cleaned my counter, and I'll actually show you. I cleaned my counter, one of my counters, in the space. If you can, I'll flip this up. Let me see if I can take this off. Let's see if I can do it this way. Hang in there, guys. So I cleaned my counter. So I was standing in the middle of, this is part of my stamp room. So to the left is a small pile of things. I'll show you that. It's not too bad. On the counter is just a small pile of things that I need to go through and put where I need to put them. The two buckets filled with a lot of things, those are projects I have to work on. Judy, you had asked about how I store my ink pads. Those are my ink pad cases that I use. I got those from Stamp & Storage, I believe. So in one of them, two of them, I have my Distress inks and my Oxide inks. And the other one, I have my Hero Arts. I love Hero Arts ink pads. And then on my counter, which I can't show you because it is like a time bomb went off on it, is where I'm working on Graphic 45, Maker Mania, a class with, I have a whippersnapper class, and I have a art impressions class. So I got a lot of stuff going on, 4 different projects, plus taking classes this week. So maybe someday I'll show that with you. But you can see I have a bunch of, like in the store, I have cameras in here, and I have my clocks. So that's part of my workspace. Mark came up yesterday and he was like, oh my gosh, you have a counter. So I said, yes, now let's go down in your room and see what your room looks like. But the only thing is when I do sleep, I sleep really good at night. Thank you, Donna, you tell. But I will say, I cleaned that counter. So I just didn't move it off to the side. I literally tossed or put it where it belonged. So, and I decided those little white buckets are going to be like my class buckets. That's what I need to do. Because usually there's a bunch of classes across the counter. But I think I need to put them each into their own bucket. So, so that's it for me for now. Thank you guys for joining me. And Donna, do you know that if they can post on our Facebook page, if they make one of those cards, if people are able to post? So if you do make a card, try, and we'll see if it works, because I'd love for you guys to share another sample of this. So for now, I'm going to say enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you soon.